Rick gave me a call and said, Freddie, you got to get on this phone call and change some people's mindsets and get them all fired up. And I'm like, oh, brother. Okay, I'll do my best today. So I hope you all have a piece of paper and a pencil because you're going to take a little quiz on you today. All right? Because I want to give you a little stat. You ready for this? Guess what the growth rate, the fastest growing country in RX is? I'll help you. It's in the European Union, in the EU, specifically France. Mr. Steve Schwartz, two-time freaking founder who is getting a percentage of the profits in that country. This week, over 4 weeks ago, sales are up 121%. Holy crap. I don't know. I guess maybe the coronavirus didn't hit Italy. Wrong. If you're freaking like half the people I know, they're all sitting there like this, looking on the internet going, look at all this crap that's happening. This is absolutely crazy. Somebody forgot to give them the memo that there's a problem. So tonight I want to try to change your entire mentality. And I did my best for a group in Australia. And I was all excited. I gave this rendering speech. I thought it was so inspirational and motivational. And as soon as I got done, the very first question they asked me was proof positive I was a complete failure. So at the end of this call, I'm not taking any questions. I'm just going to hang up thinking I did great. Okay? Because this call ain't about you. This call is all about me feeling like I was successful. So today I'm going to tell you, what does it take to be successful? And my definition of being successful is being a billionaire with a B, not an M, a B. So immediately, if you say to yourself, oh, dude, the only thing I know about being a billionaire is the song. I want to be a billionaire so freaking bad. Okay. If you already are turned off and think you can't do it, you're screwed. What is it that Yogi Berra said? Anybody? Bueller? The game is 90% mental. The other half is physical. So tonight, I'm going to try to get your mental to understand that if you want to be successful, you got to quit thinking about, I got to find 4 people and I got to overcome the coronavirus. And you don't understand how difficult this is when I get my shipping package late. If I want to tell you the number one thing I can tell you if a leader is growing or not, I don't need any statistics. I need nothing. All I got to do is listen to what you talk about. And when you call me up and complain and argue and say how bad something sucks, I go, oh, you're not growing, are you? Because people that are growing ain't got time to worry about problems. Okay? Thomas Edison said, I built my success on the ladder of failure. So we're going to see tonight about what your mindset is. So when I wanted to become rich, I listened to my mother. I was an idiot. My mother is a concert pianist. She was divorced, had 4 jobs, and we had $50,000 net worth when she died because she had a $50,000 life insurance policy. And I took advice from her. One day I got a little smarter. I said, I love my mother. I love my mama. She knows everything. But you know what? When it comes to being rich, my mama doesn't know what she's talking about. Maybe I better look at the profile of what it takes to be rich. And I didn't pick a millionaire. I picked a billionaires. So I look them up on Forbes and I said, I want to see what it is that successful people have in common. And then I'm going to do everything I can to emulate it. So first, I want you to write this down. You just found out you won megabucks. You just won the lottery. $250 million. I want you, don't cheat yourself, be honest. Tell me what you would buy, right? You just won the freaking lottery. What would you go buy right off the bat when the money goes in your bank account and you write it down? what would you buy? Write it down. I want you to write the first three things that come to your mind that you'd say, oh my gosh, I've always wanted this. I'll give you 1 minute. Okay, you done? Okay, let's see if you have the mindset of a billionaire or you have the mindset of a loser-aire. Okay? Here we go. First of all, for all of you who have gone, oh, this is easy. Shoot, I've thought about this 100 times. I know exactly what I would do. I play the lottery all the time. Okay, you have no chance. Stop it. Life is not based on luck. How about for you, you always wrote down what I've always wanted. I wish I could buy that. And I would have bought me a Ferrari, or I'd have bought me a nice car, or I'd have bought a house, or something I could buy. That's not how a billionaire thinks. How many of you thought, oh, I'll buy to get out of debt? That's how I would spend the money. And you wrote things down like that. You're still not thinking like a billionaire. How many of you say, I would even buy an asset? Hey, at least that's not embarrassing. You're thinking like a millionaire, but you're not thinking like a billionaire. You know what a billionaire says when I say to you, what are you going to do when you win the lottery? A billionaire puts his pen down, looks at me and says, why in the heck am I wasting my time fantasizing about something that's never going to happen, basing my success on luck? Nothing comes from luck. It only comes from my hard work and effort. And you will never be successful if you get lucky. Arthur Ashe said it the best. Success is a journey, he said, not a destination. And the doing is often more important than the outcome. And he knew what he was talking about, because that's why 1/3 of all lottery winners are bankrupt within 5 years. And 70% have spent all they made. So you see, money to a billionaire is not a means to get what you want. It is simply a scorecard for a life that is self-improving. You are becoming a better you. You are learning and reading. Because to become a billionaire, that's a simple equation. You have to make money, you have to save money, and then you have to make money work for you. Notice I didn't say how much money you have to make. Do you know you can become very, 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 very rich as long as you live below your income? So if you spend your time saying, this is what I would do with my money if I made a lot, you are never going to be rich, because you are focusing on the wrong things. My boy was striking out all the time in baseball. He had excuses. He was telling me why he was striking out. He blamed it on me. He blamed it on the weather. He blamed it on the coach. He blamed it on everything. Finally, I said to him, Andrew, you suck because you suck. And when the joy of being lazy is worse than the embarrassment of striking out, you will work and practice. And when that day comes, you will stop sucking. Fortunately, one day after bawling his eyes out, being embarrassed because he was horrible, he came home and he said, Dad, I want to learn. I want to practice and I want to hit every day. He moved from batting in the bottom of his order to this little tiny kid batting 4th in the batting order. If you know where that position is, it means he's the heavy hitter, and he's tiny, hitting more home runs than he had ever hit combined in all the years of baseball before. Why? He changed his mindset. Instead of thinking I'm going to strike out, instead of thinking what I'll do or why, how can I do it, he totally changed to I am focused and determined to work. You see, a profile of a billionaire is this. Their first job was usually a salesperson. Why? They had to develop interpersonal skills, how to be likable, how to approach people, how to sell themselves, and how to sell a product. Most of them have a college degree. And by the way, engineering or business was the most common. Also, they change, believe it or not, to a daily regimen of exercise and eating right. They earned their first million by owning their own business or investments. And the two ways all billionaires have billions now is ownership in a company or they inherited it. So if you're a smoking hot person, marry rich. Other than that, you're going to have to work for it. So I want to go through and give you a little test. I want you to answer truthfully. Nobody can see your answers. This is all about you. Be honest, because if you lie, you will only cheat yourself. On the areas where you score poorly, those are the areas that you need to fix if you want the mindset of a billionaire. Okay? So I'm going to give you this number. If you are good at it, if you come on the right side of this list, I want you to give yourself +1. If you suck or you're the bad side, give yourself a -1. When you're done, you're going to sum all the points. Okay? You ready to go? Here we go. First, are you employed or do you employ others? If you employ others, give yourself +1. If you are employed, give yourself a -1. If you are both, you get a +1 and a -1. You get 0. Next, do you own a company or do you work for a company? If you own a company, give yourself 1 point. So I would be just sticking there going little stick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, crap. 1, 2, 3 negatives and net the difference. Okay? Next, do you earn interest or do you pay interest? Putting money in a bank account doesn't count. That's not interest. That's pathetic. Earn interest, meaning are you the lender or are you the borrower? If you're the lender, give yourself +1. And if you're the borrower, give yourself a -1. Next, do you get paid for results or do you get paid for time worked? I'm not getting an hourly rate, by the way, giving you this lecture. I'll only get paid if you become successful. I'm being paid for results, not for my time. Are you paid for your time or results? If it's both, 0. One or the other, and usually go with the one that is most prominent in your life. Okay? Next, when you fail at something or something goes wrong, is it generally your fault? Do you view it as your responsibility or your mistake? Or do you have a reason or an excuse or a scapegoat? If you usually say to yourself, no, that's my fault. No, this is my problem. Give yourself +1. If you have somebody else to blame, give yourself a -1. You see, ability, Lou Holtz said this, it's kind of cool. He said, you know, ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you're going to do, but your attitude determines how well you'll do it. So if you have an attitude that is one of, it's not my fault or someone else caused it, you won't do well at all. Next, do you accumulate or do you consume? Do you get more stuff or do you buy stuff that you want to use, play with, or eat? That's consume. Do you save more or spend more? Plus or minus. Next, do you sell things during sporting activities or do you watch sports? In other words, you spend a lot of time watching TV. Average time spent by a billionaire watching TV, 1 hour a year. Next, do you think big or think realistic? Billionaires think big. Realistic people say, there's no way this is ever going to happen. I've got to be sensible. I've got to be rational. You see, when you think like that, you're justifying mediocrity. Billionaires always want to improve. So, are you more likely to read a book or be entertained? Read a book, billionaire. Be entertained, -1. Isn't it interesting that I don't even need to tell you what is a +1 or -1 anymore, do I? You're starting to see the entire mindset of people that are wealthy. Next, do you invest in assets, which is something you believe will go up in value? Or do you buy liabilities? Things that cost money to repair, to operate, to maintain. If you buy a boat, you buy liabilities, not assets. Whenever a problem occurs, do you immediately think of the dire consequence it will cause you, the inconvenience, or the misfortune that it happens? Or when you see a problem, do you see an opportunity? I'm telling you, this one was hard for me. When I first started seeing problems around me, I used to feel sorry for myself. This isn't fair. It's inadequate. Now, when I saw the coronavirus, I started licking my chops. Holy crap, there's going to be a lot of people who can't pay their bills. The prices of everything are going to drop, and I can buy everything cheap. Stocks are plummeting. Oh my gosh, it's a buyer's market all day long. It's an entirely new mindset. Life is full of problems. But as Arnold Maury said, what did he say? Winners build on mistakes and problems. Losers dwell on them. Next, which is more important to you? Time is more than money, or is money worth more than your time? Believe me, if you're out there in a job where you're trading your time for money, you're going to go broke because there's no leveraging your time. It is the only single commodity we all have a limited amount of. Therefore, it is your most precious resource. Do you usually find a way to get it done, or do you find an excuse as to why it did not get done? Do you have a long-term focus or a short-term focus? A billionaire says, oh, this isn't working for me at RX. I'm going to find different ways and methods to overcome it to make it work. A short-term person says, I tried it for a month. It didn't work. I quit. By the way, that's in everything, because experience is a hard teacher. Why do you hear that? Experience is a hard teacher. It gives the test first and then the lesson afterward. A little backward than life. When I tell you to do something, hey, Steve, I need you to go to Europe. Do you think what's in it for me? Or do you think, oh, what is it I can do for you, Fred? A billionaire says, yes, what is it I can do for you? A poor person says, what am I going to get if I do it? True? How many times, Steve? I'm just picking on Steve because he's in the center of my screen. How many times you go do things all over the world, you're never on stage, you don't do anything. Do you ever say, what do I get out of it?
I've gone all over the world, not spoke once.
Once. I've never heard Steve Schwartz ever in my life when I've asked him to do something, said, what do I get? What are you doing for me? Never. He laughs because it just doesn't enter his head. But for poor people, it does. You're asking me to do something. What am I going to get? Hey, do you believe in luck more than skill? If you find yourself telling everybody they're so lucky, give yourself -1. If you believe they have skill or accomplished it, give yourself +1. Are you more organized or impulsive? Organized people have everything laid out and they know exactly where they're headed. Impulsive people just react by sheer emotion. Do you find yourself creating success or envying the success of others? I got to tell you, this one was one of mine. I used to envy success of other people. And one day I said, you know what? Me sitting here feeling sorry for myself ain't going to get me any richer. It's just going to give me an excuse to why I'm not. Do you believe hard work eventually pays, or you should get paid for any work? Do you believe if you practice, you will get better and become the best? Or do you only practice long enough to be sufficient or adequate? You see, billionaires practice until they can't fail. Poor people practice until they got it right. I would much rather practice till I can't get it wrong than I would till I get it right. Heber J. Grant added a great quote on this one. He said, that which we persist in doing becomes easier for us to do. Not because the nature of the task itself changed, but our power to do has increased. Do you find yourself talking a lot? Or do you say very little and listen? If you talk a lot, -1. I know, I gave myself -1. If you listen more than you talk, +1. And finally, do you give directions or do you take orders? Hey, if your score when you're done is 20 or above, I have a hunch you're going to be very successful at RX. If your score is 10 to 20, you got some things to do to change. If your score is less than 10, quit. You ain't got no chance. Go back to working the minimum wage and be poor, or listen to what I'm telling you tonight and change. Because the last question a billionaire says is, if I asked a billionaire, is life fair? A billionaire would look at you and say, absolutely, life is fair. Because it's all about self-determination, self-improvement. And someone who fails says, it's not fair. I wasn't born rich or good looking or charming or any other excuse that they had. So tonight in its lesson, I want to end with this. I could not tell you what a successful person looks like in RX. They are so different. It's not based on gender. It's not based on talent. It's not based on personality. It's based on none of that. It is always based on a mindset that says, I determine my destiny. I affect my own change. I am out to continually improve. And I will persist in that which I want to accomplish until the goal is reached. So, go change yourself. And if you do that, I got my pay on tonight's call. It wasn't an hourly rate. It isn't what I got. It is what I could do for you. Because that's what I want RX to become for all of us. A place when you get done and you say, you know what? I am better as a person. I am more successful. I am more happy. I am healthier. I am more confident because I was a part of RX than had I never been in the company in the first place. And if that happens, then I'm a success as well.